actually it's really interesting because when I think about Thakur, I think about how he measured everything he did in a day. Like, he was an incredible record keeper and always kept his pulse on everything he was doing. So I was wondering, has anybody developed some kind of like, you know how you train sports people and you measure everything when you're training a sports person? You're an Ayurvedic doctor, so you know all about measurement and review. Has anyone done that Upada Samrita so that we can really like inculcate it into our daily practice and take our pulse like Gurudev tells us to?
Not that I know of, but it's a really interesting idea. Maybe we should put our heads together and talk about that a bit.
Well, I've already put down on my piece of paper, Kani Upada Samrita, so you're on my hit list.
Good. It would be very purifying and a great opportunity.
You know how you do your what you call it, your fasts and stuff. You know, you were talking through. Yeah, but wouldn't it be amazing? Yeah. So
that's a nice idea. Yeah. Upadesha Rita cleanse.
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah, like yeah.
Okay, it's going to happen.
Cool.
Love it.
Thank you so much, Nimaji Sanya Prabhu. I know
That's
that
one
our
of
next
his
speaker
assistants.
is ready and waiting.
Maharaj.
We're really excited, Maharaj, for you to come and speak, but I'm going to hand you over to a better MC than myself, Yeshwarana Prabhu, who will introduce you and then we can go from there to hear your beautiful Harikatha, Maharaj. I've been waiting for a long time to actually hear from you. So, very excited, Maharaj, and Yeshwarana Prabhu.
Oh, she's meant to say a much bolder and uglier MC than she is. That's what she was meant to say. She mispronounced it. Maraji, actually, we weren't quite sure who was emceeing this last session, but as soon as you came on, I felt so excited I couldn't help myself but introduce you.
Okay.
I haven't seen you for ages, and I miss you. So I will do a formal introduction and embellish it a little bit with my experience with Maharaj. So our next speaker, our final speaker for today, I can't believe we're almost in day 4. It's just almost like a time warp. It's gone so quickly. I mean, how do you go through 43 speakers and it feels like 10 minutes? So our final speaker of day 3 is Sripad Bhaktivedanta Padmanabha Maharaj. He's a real, wow, I mean, he's been absorbed in the Krishna movement for a long time. Came to Srila Prabhupada in 1970, took Harinam and Diksha in 1971 and 72. I mean, I was only 2 years old when Maharaj met Prabhupada. He actually met Srila Gurudev, Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, in 1977 when Gurudev was the one who was orchestrating the whole Mali ceremony for Prabhupada. Once Prabhupada disappeared, he took shelter of Bhakti Rakshak Srila Maharaj, one of my favorite writers and philosophers and acharyas, most extraordinary acharya. And then in 2002, I thought it was earlier, I seem to remember you around Gurudev earlier. I've got 2002 here, I remember you before that.
2002 is my sannyas.
Yes, I was going to say, the bio's wrong there. So I remember you in 96.
Bio's not
you
wrong.
The
bio's not
yeah,
wrong.
it's like you was around. Yeah, anyway.
I met Gurudev I met Gurudev personally in 1988.
Right, okay. Well, bio's totally wrong, guys. Ignore it. Because Maharaj was on the First World Tour in 1996. He travelled around the world with Gurudev umpteen times. He did all the parikrams, Navdeep and Kartik. I remember you way back in 96. And he took sannyas in 2002 and has, pre-COVID obviously, he's been travelling around the world constantly preaching and teaching. He's really erudite, really beautiful speaker, a really committed sadhak and an inspiration to us all. Sripad Bhaktivedanta Maharaj, you got 40 minutes, and I will pipe up, because I know you won't look at any paper, so I'll actually announce when it's 30 minutes, 10 minutes to go, and 5 minutes to go, so you're aware of time.
So what is the stopping time?
40 minutes, so your time, you're 110 there, right?
Yeah.
150.
Okay.
Yeah. Another 10 minutes to go. Haribol.
Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Jataha Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam. The door closed so it doesn't keep on. Sadvaitam, outside door. Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam Kuroti Vachalam Pangam Langayate Girim Yat Kripa Tamaham Bande Shri Gurun Dinatarnam Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Adadanas Trinandam Tair Idam Yache Punah Punaha Srimad Rupa Padam Boja Dulisyam Janma Janmani Vansha Kalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahabhadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namani Gauda Trise Namaha Nityanandam Namastubhyam Premananda Pradayane Kalo Kalmasha Nashaya Janava Pataye Namaha Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Brindai Tulsi Devai Priyai Keshavasya Cha Krishna Bhakti Prade Devi Satyavachai Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivas Adi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Tell him to be quiet. Or close the window or something. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivas Adi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. First of all, I'm offering my unlimited Dandavat Pranams and my Shraddha Pushpanjali at the lotus feet of my most worshipable beloved Gurudev, Nitya Leela Pravishta, Om Vishnu Pad Paramahansa, Ashto Tarasata, Sri Srila A.C. Bhakti Vedanta, Swami Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada. Then I'm offering my same unlimited Dandavat Pranams and my Shraddha Pushpanjali at the lotus feet of my most worshipable, beloved Siksha Gurudev. Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Ashto Tarasata Sri Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj and Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Ashto Tarasata Sri Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. Then I'm offering my unlimited Dandavat Pranams to the lotus feet of all of my Sri Sri Rupanuga Guru Varga. And on this transcendental Disappearance Day festival of the Divine Eternal Associate of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who descended into this world to give the message of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the process of attaining the highest praying, that is Sri Sri Rupa Goswami Prabhupada. And my Dandavat Pranams to all the Vaishnavas and to all the Vaishnavis. You close that door. So, we've been also having discussions here in New Braj of the glories of Srila Rupa Goswami, especially yesterday. And yesterday being the actual Tirobhav, the actual disappearance day of Srila Rupa Goswami. So we discussed a tiny little drop of his glories. And all of us throughout the world who are joining into this Zoom call for hearing the glories of Srila Rupa Goswami, we're very, very fortunate, because to come in this line of Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada is the most fortunate occurrence for any jiva wandering in the material universe. And that is stated by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself when he instructed Srila Rupa Goswami in Prayag. He explained to him that all the living entities within this universe, they are continually wandering. Brahmanda Brahmite, Kono Bhagyavan Jeev, Guru Krishna Prasade Pai, Bhakti Lata Bij. Mahaprabhu taught this to Rupa Goswami, that all the jivas, they are Brahmite, that means wandering. So, they are wandering up and down in different bodies, in different species of life, all throughout this universe for millions and millions of lifetimes, uncountable. Anadi Bahirmuk. So those jivas who have turned away from Krishna, this is our position, that we are wandering and wandering until we become fortunate. Bhagyavan. Bhagya means good fortune. So, Mahaprabhu told that when a living entity attains good fortune, then what happens to that jiva? Guru Krishna Prasade Pai, Bhakti Lata Bij. By the mercy of Sri Guru, by the mercy of Krishna, combined together. By Krishna's mercy, one meets Guru within this world. And by Guru's mercy, one receives Bhakti Lata Bij. That means the seed of the creeper, the vine of divine love, Bhakti Lata Bij. So, from that point on, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu began to explain to Rupa Goswami how rare it is that a human being, that a jiva can attain human birth, human form of life. Very, very rare. And even amongst those who attain the human form of life, which is the only chance that the jivas can come out from the illusory energy of Maya and attain their eternal position in relationship with Krishna. So even amongst the human beings, it is very rare. Half of the human society found in this universe, they are not civilized. They do not have Vedic knowledge. But the other half who do have Vedic knowledge, they will also have divisions amongst them. And the majority of them are called Dharma Dvaji. Even if they follow Vedic customs and so forth, they are outwardly manifesting this. So, the fortunate jivas who come in connection with a bona fide Guru Parampara, and what to speak of Guru Parampara, to come in the line of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, very near to when he appeared only 530 years ago, to come in this line, in the Guru Parampara, in this line. And this line means Srila Rupa Goswami's Sampradaya. To come into the Rupa Nuga Sampradaya, to hear the teachings of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as manifested by Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, and the 6 Goswamis, is the most fortunate occurrence for any jiva in the entire universe. So, the glories of Srila Rupa Goswami have been broadcast by the acharyas that have come in this line, the Rupa Nuga Guru Parampara, even up to the present day. All these illustrious personalities, all of their transcendental names, all of their writings, how they manifested service to the mission of Srila Rupa Goswami. And this was beginning from Raghunath Das Goswami. So Rupa Raghunatha Pade Jara Ash Chaitanya Charitamrita Kohe Krishna Das. Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami, who wrote the Chaitanya Charitamrita, he's a disciple of Rupa Goswami. And he's a disciple also of Raghunath Das Goswami, who is really the foremost and the first Rupanuga Vaishnava, who completely manifested within this world all of the desires in the heart of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And it was told by Narottam Das Thakur, Sri Chaitanya Mano Bhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadama Yam Dadati Sva Padantikam. Here he told that the personality within this world, Stapitam Yena Bhutale. Yena Bhutale means within this world. So Sri Chaitanya Mano Bhishtam. What was the internal heart's desire of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? To give Unnata Ujjvala Bhakti Swabhakti Shriyam. Unnata Ujjvala Ras Swabhakti Shriyam. To give to the jivas of this world the opportunity to come in contact directly with the Sampradaya, with the teachings that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to bestow upon the jivas. And that is the science of bhakti rasa and how to progress in the practice of bhakti, so that from the very beginning, from the dawning of Shraddha, from the dawning of faith, at that moment, the jiva can come onto the pathway through the mercy of Guru and begin to practice the process of bhakti. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu described so many details about this vast ocean of bhakti rasa to Srila Rupa Goswami. And Srila Rupa Goswami manifested all of these rasa shastras. Also, the other Goswamis manifested, but amongst them, Srila Rupa Goswami clarified everything. He made the process very, very clear, what one will have to do in order to attain perfection on this pathway, and to go through all the stages from Shraddha, then coming into Sadhu Sangha, then going through the process of accepting Sri Guru in Sadhu Sangha, then beginning the process of Bhajana Kriya, applying this in one's life, practicing the limbs of bhakti under the guidance of Sri Guru and Vaishnavas, and gradually then coming into the stage of Anartha Nivritti, where all of one's anarthas gradually are removed from the heart, and then coming to the stage of Nishta, where now steadiness has come. This is the beginning of the Madhyam Adhikar stage, and in this stage, steadiness, one can be completely absorbed 24 hours a day in hearing, chanting, remembering, and performing all the limbs of bhakti. And then coming into the middle of the Madhyam stage, in which the devotee can now attain intense greed, ruchi, intense taste, desire to taste all the nectar coming from the process of bhakti. Then coming into the stage of asakti, which is the preliminary stage of the dawning of the stage of bhav in the heart. In that stage of asakti, a deep attachment to Krishna and to the process of worshipping Krishna, it begins to manifest. And then finally, coming into the stage of bhav. The stage of bhav is called Prem Ankur. It is the tiny little sprout in which Krishna Prem, the highest ultimate goal of life, it will be attained. So that stage of bhav is the stage of attaining pure love of Godhead, completely free from any material infection or contamination. And then finally, in the stage of bhav, one will gradually come to the stage of prem. And in the stage of prem, then the jiva, he can be transferred to the planet where Krishna is performing his pastimes in the material universes, because there are millions and millions of material universes, and Sri Krishna and his entourage, they are going. Our Srila Prabhupada, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, called it like a road show, going from one universe to the next, continually. Is going on eternally. So then the devotee can attain his birth in Braja, in Bhauma Vrindavan, from the womb of a Braja Gopi. And he can attain this Krishna Prem in the stage of Sneha, in the very beginning. Prem, Sneha, Pranay, Rag, Anurag, Bhav, Man, Mahabhav. So, Srila Rupa Goswami, he has given all the 5 rasas. In his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, he has explained the whole science of rasa, the science of ecstasy. I was telling the devotees yesterday that show me any other process, anywhere, that can discuss this science of ecstasy. The actual components. How does ecstatic love manifest? Nowhere this is available. So Rupa Goswami wrote this Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, and he focused on all 5 primary rasas and secondary rasas. But then, in order to give all the details that will be necessary for those fortunate jivas who have the inclination to enter into the highest rasa, into the Madhurya rasa, then he wrote Ujjvala Nilamani, the sequel of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. And there, every single detail is given, all about the moods of the eternal associates who are the Braja Gopis and Srimati Radhika and her entourage, all the different loving affairs, all the details, all the different moods, all the different types of gopis, everything was given. So Srila Narottam Das Thakur, when he said in his glorification of Rupa Goswami, Sri Chaitanya Mano Bhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale. He was mentioning that this is the personality. Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swa Padantikam. That this Rupa Goswami, he is the personality who has established the mission within this world to fulfill the inner heart's desire of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And the meaning of that is that ultimately it is Srila Rupa Goswami who explained everything, all the details, all the whole process. What is the sadhana that will have to be performed by the jiva to attain these things? And he also gave the definition verses of each and every stage of bhakti and how one has to execute these different stages. So, Narottam Das Thakur glorified Rupa Goswami in this way. And Srila Raghunath Das Goswami especially, he manifested in his own life the actual activities, how the devotee will come into the stage of Radha Dasyam, aspiring to come into the pathway of Raganuga Bhakti and ultimately Rupanuga Bhakti. This is a very rare thing within this world. So, I want to read a very nice presentation by my Siksha Guru, Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj, from his book, Sri Guru and His Grace. And this is one of the most classic, beautiful, clear presentations that I've read anywhere, where he was speaking to a group of Western devotees in Navadvip Dham in his mutt, and he was explaining what is the process by which we will ultimately be able to attain this perfection. So it's a long chapter, it's the final chapter of Sri Guru and His Grace, which is titled The Line of Sri Rupa. And I'm not reading the whole chapter, I'm reading more the last 1/3 of that chapter. And so I invite the devotees to listen to this presentation. So in this chapter, Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj is describing how the jiva initially even begins to search for his spiritual life, for his perfection. And how gradually, stage by stage, he begins to understand, oh, Krishna, he's the absolute truth. So, he is the aim and objective of my devotional practices. And from there, gradually, he begins to hone in and he begins to understand more and more clearly what is the actual domain, what is the actual camp where his ultimate desires will be fulfilled. So after describing the glories of Srimati Radharani, as described by Gita Govinda Jayadev Goswami, how Srimati Radharani in the Vasanti Ras, in the springtime rasa dance, she left. She left from the rasa dance. And even though there were billions of gopis there, they could not satisfy Krishna's desire to taste ras. He immediately felt that the whole quality of the ras has gone down. And then he noticed Srimati Radharani has left. Then he went chasing after her. And that's the whole subject matter of the Gita Govinda. So, Srila Sridhar Maharaj is saying the other gopis that were still there, they numbered so many, billions of gopis, Shatakoti gopi. But in quality, they were a little less. And their total combination could not satisfy Krishna. The qualitative difference was there, that is found. Qualitative difference between Srimati Radhika's seva and all the other gopis. Now, Srila Sridhar Maharaj begins to talk about the Rupa Nuga Sampradaya. He says the Rupa Nuga Sampradaya, the followers of the line of Sri Rupa, are those who have a unique taste of service in the camp of Radharani. In that plane, there is no entrance of any mundane exploitation or renunciation, and not even legalized shastric devotion. The highest kind of devotion is not controlled by any law. It is spontaneous and automatic. Sacrifice to the highest degree is only possible in that camp. The highest kind of divine sentiment is distributed from the camp of Srimati Radharani, and that can never be compared with any attainment hitherto known even in the eternal factor of time and space. Then there is another stage for which we should be prepared. Why should we try to enter into the camp of Radharani? Should we think that there, in that better atmosphere, we shall have Krishna's presence more confidentially? Should we think, oh, I will have contact with Krishna very intimately? Should we want to enter into that camp? No. We want to avoid the connection of Krishna, but concentrate on the service of Radharani. Why? What more benefit is possible there in the service of Radharani? If we approach Krishna directly to give service to him, we shall be losers. Radharani's service to Krishna is of the highest order in every way. If we devote our energy to help Radharani, then our energy will be utilized in her service. So in this way, she will serve Krishna with her service more enhanced, and then the reciprocation will pass to us through her as our reward. That will be devotion of the highest type, Mahabhav. So, the general inclination of the Sakhis, the confidential maidservants of Radharani, is not to come in direct connection with Krishna. They avoid that. But still, it is the benevolent and the generous nature of Radharani to connect them with Krishna on some plea at some time or other. But their intimate nature is always to avoid Krishna and concentrate on the service of Radharani. And this is confirmed in Chaitanya Charitamrita, where the Srimati Radharani, her relationship with the Sakhis is described. Radhara Swarupa Krishna Prema Kalpalata, Sakhigan Hoy Tar Palava Pushpapata. By nature, Srimati Radharani is just like a creeper of love of Godhead. And the gopis are the twigs, the flowers, and leaves of that creeper. So eternally, the twigs, flowers, and leaves sprout from the creeper of Srimati Radharani. She is the trunk, and they are the branches. This is their relationship. Yet, still, there is another higher thing. We are known as Rupa Nuga, the followers of Sri Rupa. Why? The service of Srimati Radharani eliminates everything, even Narayan, to go to Krishna. There is the Krishna of Dwarka, the Krishna of Mathura, and the Krishna of Vrindavan. And then again, in Vrindavan, where there is free mixing, without hesitation in other camps, Radharani's camp is the highest. Eliminating all other camps, direct service to Radharani is considered to be the highest. And still, there is another point. Who is Rupa? Rupa Manjari. Generally, the hierarchy in the spiritual world is eternal. New recruits can occupy a particular rank of Manjari, assistant in Madhurya Rasa. And the leader of the Manjaris is Sri Rupa Manjari. what is the special feature in the Manjari camp which is not found amongst the Sakhis, the girlfriends of Krishna? First there is Radharani, then the camp of her right-hand personal attendant, Lalita. Then under Lalita, there is Rupa Manjari. What is the unique position of the followers of Sri Rupa? The new recruits can attain to that status. Now, the privilege of this Manjari class, we are to conceive most respectfully and attentively. When Radha and Govinda are in secrecy, in a private place, the Sakhis, who are well versed in the art of that kind of play, because they are a little grown up, so they do not like to approach there to disturb their confidential mixing. If the more grown-up Sakhis enter there, then both Radha and Govinda will feel shy. So their presence may create some disturbance, but the younger girls can enter there. And then Radha and Govinda have no hesitation in free mixing. So, in that highest stage of the mixing of Radha Govinda, the free play of Radha Govinda, these Manjaris, the younger girls, they can have admission. But the grown-up Sakhis, they cannot have admission there. New recruits may come up to the Manjari class. I'm repeating this point. New recruits may come up to the Manjari class. That's us, new recruits. And the Manjaris have that sort of special advantage under the leadership of Sri Rupa Manjari. So they get the best advantage there. The most sacred type of pure service, which is not open even to the Sakhis, it is open to the Manjaris. That is found in Radharani's camp. So the position of the Rupanugas, the followers of Sri Rupa, is the most profitable position. That has been given out by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That has been shown by him, and that is fixed as the highest limit of our fortune in Krishna's concern. This is unexpectable, undesignable, and beyond hope. But our prospect lies there in that subtle camp of Sri Rupa Manjari, Rupa Goswami. So the camp, the Sampradaya of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is known as the Rupanuga Sampradaya. And there our fate, our fortune is located. Now, we have to conduct ourselves in such a way that naturally we can connect with that highest, purest spiritual conception. From here, we must not allow ourselves to be satisfied with anything less than this highest ideal. That should be the highest goal of our life. And we must adjust our approach from our present position. So then Srila Sridhar Maharaj is winding up this presentation, and he's saying that we are minors, and our Father has left us with so many important documents about the properties that we are to inherit. As minors, we should try to find out what properties belong to us in those documents. When we come of age, then we shall take possession of our rightful inheritance. The Raga Nuga Shastra, the scriptures of spontaneous devotional love, has been given to us. It has been left to us by our Guru, by our guardian, our Father. And as we grow more and more in the spiritual line, we will have to detect what is our prospect, what is our real wealth. We must recover that. We must have that. It is there in the document. It is ours. This is our position. We are minors, but we must become majors, and we must demand the service meant for us by our guardians. Then one devotee makes a comment. He says, we are putting in our claim to you. We think that in the absence of our father, the court has appointed a guardian in order to keep us out of mischief and also to regulate our inheritance. Then Srila Sridhar Maharaj says, this is not mine. This is the property of my Gurudev. And Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada gave you a clue. He has distributed the key widely and given a clue. He said, with the key, come and open the iron chest and find out what valuable ornaments and gems are within the chest. Of course, no one will understand us when we say such things. Who will come to appreciate? They'll say, oh, this is all the product of a disorganized brain. These people are trying to take electricity from the sky, leaving aside this concrete earth. They are like the Chataka bird. So Rupa Goswami says that there is a class of a bird known as a Chataka, who never takes a drop of water from the earth. Their nature is that whenever they want a drop of water, they always cast their eyes to the clouds. One drop of pure water, that is their cry. And they wait with their beaks towards the sky, towards the clouds, and they never use any water from the earth. So our line is like that. The spirit of that bird is described in the following way by Rupa Goswami. And I'm ending this with this verse by Rupa Goswami. Virachaya mai dandam dina bandho dayam va gatiriha na bhavata kachidasti anya mamasti ni patatu shatakoti nirbaram va navambas tadapi kila payoda stuyake chatakena. Here the Chataka bird is being described by Rupa Goswami, and the Chataka bird is saying, you may punish me, O cloud. You may punish me. If a thunderbolt comes, I'll be nowhere. You can throw down thunder, or you can give me water. But how much can I drink with my small beak? A flood of rain may come. O Lord of the poor, O Lord of the helpless, you can give me a drop of your devotion, or you may punish me like anything. So this Chataka bird is always praying for water. The cloud may satisfy him immediately, or by sending a thunderbolt it may finish him and efface him from the earth. The bird has no other alternative by nature. So he says, the bird says, my position is also like that bird. Rupa Goswami is telling, O Krishna, you may finish me, destroy me, efface me from the world, or you may save me by only a drop of your grace. I won't search after my satisfaction in the mud. That is finished. I will never go back to search my fortune in the earth, in the mundane. I am already fixed to do or die. Either I must receive a drop of your grace, or you may finish me. So in this way, Srila Rupa Goswami prays that Krishna's mercy will descend like rain from the clouds, and not only quench his thirst, but bathe him, satisfy his utmost hankering, and fulfill his innermost necessity. So we should never search for our fortune in the mud. We must always look to the high sky and pray for Sri Guru and his grace. Those are the concluding words of Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj. I wanted to read this for this festival of Rupa Goswami Harikatha, how the great Vaishnavacharyas are glorifying the position of Rupa Goswami. So I'm feeling myself to be inadequate on such a day, because who is Rupa Goswami? Who is the Rupanuga Sampradaya? And what is my tiny little Chataka bird beak in comparison with their ability to taste bhakti rasa and to relish and taste the nectar of the glories of Srila Rupa Goswami. But we are making some very small, tiny attempt. And therefore, I'm paying my Dandavat Pranams at the lotus feet of all of my Guru Varga, the Rupa Nuga Guru Varga, and ultimately at the lotus feet of Srila Rupa Goswami. And just like Srila Raghunath Das Goswami, he prayed, Adadanas Tranandantayar Idam Yache Kunak Kunak Srimad Rupa Padam Boja Dulisyam Janma Janmani, that I am taking a blade of grass in my teeth and throwing myself at your lotus feet and praying that I can have a tiny particle of dust from your lotus feet, O Sri Rupa Goswami, birth after birth after birth. Vancha kalpatarubhascha kripa sindhu bhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.
Maharaj, I was so absorbed I forgot to tell you we had 10 minutes, but you finished absolutely on time. Amazing. Thank you so much. It was a beautiful, very poetic rendition. And actually, you said something that I'd never heard before, which kind of explained why we're aiming for Radhagastya and why also a union with Krishna doesn't make sense when you were saying how by serving Radharani we actually are pleasing Krishna more because she'll be able to serve him even more, and then it's all transmitted back to the Manjaris, the happiness.
Yes,
that's really good.
That's the wonderful thing about Srila Sridhar Maharaj's explanation. He made it so very clear that because Srimati Radhika's service to Krishna is of the highest quality, there is nothing that can compare, even billions of gopis. So the Manjaris who are serving Srimati Radhika and assisting Rupa Manjari, what actually takes place is that what Srimati Radharani is tasting and experiencing in her direct exchange with Krishna, it becomes actually manifested on the very bodies of the Manjaris. Yes. So what they're tasting is much higher than what they would taste directly in connection with Sri Krishna. Even Radharani, as we heard, she tries to arrange for them sometimes to meet with Krishna, but they go, no, why do you want me to accept? They say that to Krishna. Why do you want me to accept such an inferior thing? What they are tasting is...
Krishna's pretty tricky, right? So he tries his best.
Yes, but they're more tricky even. Because they're in the camp of Srimati Radharani. So the thing is that they are tasting the ultimate highest thing that can be tasted by any jiva in the whole creation because of their dasyam, because of their mood of service and surrender to the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani, Radha Dasyam.
Beautiful. Thank you, Maharaj, so much.
Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, no, my pleasure. I'm so happy we connected. And yes, we'll connect some more because we need your guitar more often.
We'll try.
Our Friday session is now over, except bar the kirtan, of course, which I will hand over to Krishna very shortly. It was a tremendous day, and tomorrow we start again for our final session, day 4 of our 4-day Sri Rupa Swami Tirabhav Festival under the guidance of Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj. The lineup tomorrow will be starting at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning UK time, and the second session will be at 5 o'clock in the evening. And the lineup is we start with Kirtan, and then Srimati Kamalagiri from the Ganga Matas, then Bhaktivedanta, Sripad Bhaktivedanta Sajan Maharaj, followed by Sripad Bhaktivedanta Madhav Maharaj, followed by another Padmanabha, but a different Padmanabha, Padmanabha Swami of the Radharaman Mandir, who's one of the wonderful Goswami.
Oh no, that's Goswami, Padmanabha Goswami.
Yeah.
Yes, not Swami.
What was that?
Padmanabha Goswami, not Swami.
Yeah, that's what I said.
No, you said
Yeah.
Padmanabha Swami, another Padmanabha Swami.
Oh, there we go. So then in the evening, we have Sriman Ramesh Dasa, and then Sriman Mahi. I don't know how to pronounce this Prabhu's name. I don't think I've met him. Sriman Mahi Bhakti.
Mahi Bharta. He's staying in Hawaii.
Mahi Bhakti.
Yes.
Yeah.
You've met him.
And then we have. Sorry?
You've met him before. He's been at every Badger festival with Gurudev.
Oh, have I? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll probably recognize him tomorrow. And then Sriman Nihari Dasa.
Oh.
And then we've got Srimati Manjari Dasa from Hawaii, who's actually been in charge of this festival since 2005. I think it's actually she started it, and we benefited greatly from her network and her previous experience. It's been wonderful serving with her.
Mm.
And then we finish off with, and it's on his birthday, so we're going to have to sing him happy birthday, Sripad Bhaktivedanta Bhagavat Maharaj. It's going to be a great day tomorrow.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay, so Krishna Priya, over to you to take us out with the kirtan.
All right.
It's like magic.
I've been waiting for it.
You know that series, Bewitched?
Yes.
Yeah, just like Bewitched. It's great.
Perfect. All right. Padmanabha pranams. Thanks so much for having me sing here. I'm going to do Gauranga Bodhite Have, and that's page 86 of the Sri Gaudiya Diktivucha. If you'd like to sing along, feel free. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmeditam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Gaura Krishnaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Vaniti Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Gauranga Bolite Have Pulaka Sharira Hari Hari Bolite Nai Yane Bhavinirai Padmanabha Swami. Jai Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe. Jai Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura, Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
Have you stopped your filming?
Hari Bol.